coup mongering comes when the interests of desperate politicians are violated or breached. In Nigeria, it's a favorite pastime. The Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, has called on the Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA, to go after those calling for military takeover of power in the country. This directive is contained in a signed statement by the image maker of the Defense Ministry, Ensho Ogubike. The call for a violent change of government by the military is not just absurd. The fact is, we've been there before, Tony.
Oh, sure. We don't want authoritarianism anymore. We don't want suppressing civil liberties.
But even the soldiers are not ready.
Yeah,
that's what they're telling us.
They are not ready. And you can't compare the two. You know, at least I was, I won't say that I was that matured during the military, but I can tell you.
You were old enough to
I was very old enough to take one and two. Military regime is not the best because they're going to take Nigerian back. I understand the angers of some Nigerians, but then proposing, in fact, I don't want to even mention it because we've gone far beyond that, to take the country back. Because what do I want? A situation, I call them, you know, gangsters, take over the treasure of a nation, and nobody is telling them how to go about it.
Suspend the constitution.
Everything will be suspended.
And
some people are going to be arrested.
Everything by fiat.
Of course, they rule by decrees. I mean, we've made progress. We may not have gotten it right or gotten to that destination, but it's a journey.
Tony, but the politicians are not allowed to sleep.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting. But that does not mean that the politicians, the political ruling class, should not do what they ought to do. Don't take the citizens for granted. Don't use your hand to spoil the democratic process. When we say we're under democracy, let all the arms of democracy work, all the arms of democratic process. Let it function, the judiciary and everything. Do not, because people are watching. When you say, initially to say this is civil rule, because all the tenets of democracy, I'm not saying being activated. So if we don't want civil unrest, that usually leads to military coup. Please lead the people
and
listen to them. There must be communication.
A former American president told us they need to make institutions stronger than individuals.
That is what we want, because a situation where individuals control the institution, you don't need any. Once the institutions are strong, you don't need any other thing. It will work automatically. You don't need any. But a situation where people controls it. See, when we sit down here, we may not be active, politically.
Yeah.
But we'll watch, and once you make, because this Gen Z generation.
Yeah.
They watch a lot. The way we reason is not the way they reason, and a lot of things are working now. This is the internet age. We have our phones in our hand. We can communicate. Anything that's happening right now, we have it on a fingertips.
It's an e-world.
So you cannot maneuver the system. You cannot tell them that it's A instead of B. The truth, there must be communication.
Because they are saying it.
There must be communication all the time. When you are the leader, they are watching you.
Yeah.
Do the right thing. And then this issue of, I don't want to mention it, but
okay.
We don't need it at this point. We'll get it right.
But the minister prompting the DIA, don't you think is more than a mouthful?
Well, you see, let me start by the Yoruba will say that Omade Omogun, Onkelefo. A child that does not, he sees herb and is calling it vegetable.
I thought you were going to. I thought you were going to remind me of Omade Omela.
Now, for those who are calling for military coup, they don't know what they are talking about. Some of us suffered under the military, and we now wear all those indignities as epaulet on our chest.
Yeah.
If people were to wear it, Citizen Jones, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Was it Chief Obafemi Awolowo or who that said that the worst civilian government is better than the best military government? Because, look, in all honesty, and I've said it before on this program, if the military had not intervened in 1983 and they had allowed the late Aliu Shagari to finish his fourth term, the second term.
So you mean 1983?
1983, yes. Yeah. If the military had not intervened to short-circuit Shagari's second coming, by now we'll have learned our lessons. And we have, even from 1999...
There are cynics who would insist that is debatable.
No, well, of course, anything in the world is debatable. Because the truth of the matter is that, are you going to say that because a child, you have a 1-year-old child, is learning how to walk, and he has been falling and he is falling, are you going to tie such a child to a chair and say that until you know how to walk before I allow you to walk? No! And that is what the military has done to our democracy. Allow the mistakes to be made. They will learn from it. The electorate, we are learning from the process.
But Yinka, please, don't get offended.
No, I'm not.
Politics in Nigeria is, interestingly, not between right and left. No, it's not between right and wrong. Okay. We are talking about right and left.
Yes.
Our politicians are the bane of democracy in this country.
Yes, but we are not going to substitute them for military autocracy. Because in military autocracy, the media is muzzled, individuals are muzzled, and all that. So we have a system that will correct itself. It might take time. I think sometimes we are always too much in a hurry. That we want things to be a president, a civilian, an elected president is not.
Would you say
Nigerians are not?
Would you say Nigerians are an impatient people?
We are impatient in everything, and that is the reason why we are in traffic. You can see ahead of you that there's problem, the bottleneck there. You pull out from your lane and go and add to the problem. That's part of the impatience, and also. A military head of state or a military president or whatever you call it is not the same thing as a civilian president.
Okay.
There are processes that must be observed before things are done. Okay. This is not an excuse for the present system we are running. What I'm saying, Citizen Jones, I'm sorry. What I'm trying to bring out here is that for those who have witnessed military regimes in this country, especially the last two before 1999, they will know that when we talk of democracy, we should have it the way what we have now may not be perfect.
Yeah.
And there's no any perfect system. Even the American presidency or the American democracy is never perfect because you still see Americans who criticize their own system.
All right.
We should learn.
Yinka, let me paint this scenario for Tony. Maybe Tony would understand where I'm coming from. Tony, as we sit here, you and I and our dear friend and colleague know that in Edo State, the primaries of the APC has come and gone, and a candidate is waiting for the election day.
Yeah.
But a member of the National Assembly, another politician, is going to court to ask INEC to declare him.
You recognize him.
This is not going to be healthy for this system.
No, that's part of democracy.
What democracy?
In as much as Nigerians don't want coup, so let's just put that aside. But our political class needs to sit up, because most times, I was in my 20s when at least I witnessed this military and all that. Reasons they give most times for coming. The politicians provide it. The country is going through difficult times. They're not looking, they're not interested. They're buying cars, they're doing this, they're spending lavishly. So to the rest, you can go to hell if you like complain. That's why I emphasized on communication. If there are issues at all, we don't have the resources. Always let the people know. Because these are things that agitate their mind and start thinking of escape routes where we can get it, you know. You should circuit it. Once we do the right thing as politicians, all these things, nobody even reason it. As a political leader, you can rule well without people agitating. All those socio-economic factors that occasionally the nation faces, how do these politicians address them? Many times people say, cut the cost of...
Time is up, yes, sir.
Yeah, so people say, cut the cost of governance. We know the issues.
30 seconds, how do you
we know the issues.
Well, in concluding, what I would just say is that we need to be patient. The politicians also need to learn their lessons, and then accelerate the level of development. Some of the things they do don't convince us that they know that there is problem in the politics.
Or they even listen.
Therefore, they need to gauge the populace and also the military. Of course, I'm sure they already know that the country is not ripe.
Inka, I must stop you here. I must stop you here. But